What's going on, guys? It's Kyle with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we're ready to do the full review of this guy. This is the Benchmade Skirmish, sent in to the channel by Christopher Stanks. If you don't know who that is, longtime viewer of the channel for me, Jake, Kevin, Chris, always on the edge and on Lefty Live as far as in the comments, contributing and stuff. He sent us quite a few knives. One that you have already seen on the channel that came in with this one is the Shirogorov. Damn, now I can't remember which one this is. The 80? Shit. Now I can't remember. I've already done a review on this guy. Freaking awesome blade. A little bit smaller of a knife, but still, you know, comfortable for me. M390 blade, you know, Russian made. Very, very nice carbon fiber on this guy. And but anyway, already done a review on this, so not going to do another one. But did I carry this while I had it? Yeah, I did, because I do like it. As far as flipper-only knives go, this one is pretty damn sick. But the Skirmish is the one that I had not checked out. And this doesn't look like, you know, any other Benchmade, really, that I've ever had on the channel. This is a very old model. It's discontinued. I have no idea what they went for then or even what they go for now. I'm assuming they probably go for a lot more than they originally did because they are discontinued and you just can't find them. And yeah, this is a strange-looking Benchmade. I mean, yeah, right? But I was kind of interested in this thing, and you know, it's a Kyle-sized knife. I mean, look at this dude. It's a big boy, huge S30V blade. This one is a Neil Blackwood design, and you know, he's a custom knife maker. This was a collaboration with Benchmade and him long time ago. I mean, it's got to probably be at least 15 years ago for this collaboration, but you know, full titanium build. And, yeah, you know, the one thing that stood out to me that I really was just like, God, just pisses me off, is the tip-down carry. I just don't like tip-down. I've tried it a couple more times. Another viewer sent in some knives. I just couldn't do it. I can't do it. I just don't want to, because I just don't like it. But, however, I did carry this. It's got some things going for it that I do like. It's got hole for deployment, so that's good. It does have a very nice fall shut action. That is good. You know, S30V is totally fine, especially on the blade. When this came out, S30V was the creme de la creme, so everybody likes that. It's kind of like a greenish tint, titanium, stone washed, and then you have some of this, you know, the coloration inside these divots. Kind of a mixture of colors, and then you have this blue anodization where the chamfers are for the lanyard tube hole and then the other holes. Divots and holes are not my aesthetic preference, but you know, in all, it doesn't look that bad. You know, the blade is huge. It does have a recurve, which I'm not usually a fan of, but the blade, I think, looks very well. Has this nice ramp on it, so ergonomically, my thumb lands on the ramp, and the jimping is pretty damn good. So in this saber grip, I really enjoy it, and I found myself, you know, I always want a forward finger control. This one does not have it, so you get a lot of cutting edge. But I just kind of felt like I didn't need it on this one, which is kind of strange. There's a few knives that are like that, and this is one of them. And yeah, it's very, very ergonomic, except for because of the tip-down pocket clip. I can feel the pocket clip there. It's not really a hot spot per se, but I definitely can feel it, and I almost always can whenever the pocket clip is a tip down. I just don't like it, golly. But it's because I'm used to the tip up, really. I mean, if all knives came tip down, I'd probably be like, tip down, yay. But yeah, that's just not the case. It does have a really cool little area here where you can front flip this guy. That kind of made it a little bit more fidgety, even though I love to do the reverse flick. Now, the reverse flick, the thumb flick, and all those can be done, and they can be done relatively easily. However, this is a very, very weak detent. This thing does not really suck the blade in, and even when it gets there, it's like it's not mushy, but it's so damn light. I mean, you can easily whip this thing out. Not a huge deal for me having, been able to do that. But I really want a stronger detent on the deployment. That is for sure. I mean, I can easily, that's another thing about this. They've done a really fantastic job on the chamfering on these holes, but it actually makes it pretty slippery. If that's a word, I don't know if that's the right word. You don't really get a whole lot of grip on it. This one big hole here, it's just kind of a good size for my finger to get way down in there, and then I don't have to worry about it. Of course, I failed that. I don't have to worry about it as much. But something with like the thumb flick, it slides right off of that hole. So I don't like which usually I don't. I don't usually like the thumb deployment on a hole deployed knife. I almost always go for the middle finger flick, right? So that's not a big deal either, but it's something to keep in mind if you are looking for this knife. If you are looking for this knife, it's going to be kind of hard to find because it has been discontinued for so long. But I mean, this is kind of even back then, I think, an interesting offering by Benchmade in this collaboration with Neil Blackwell. I think it's pretty nice. There is the Neil Blackwell logo, and there's your S30V. Decent sized lock bar. Now this is titanium, but it does not have a steel lock bar insert, so, and I don't even know if it's carbidized. I'm assuming that it's carbidized. I can't really tell by looking at it. But you know, the detent ball, it locks up really nice and solid, that's for sure. There's no blade play or anything like that. Definitely it feels sturdy. Like you could do a lot of work with this and it hold up. Now it does have like a working stonewash finish on these green titanium scales, which, to be honest, I kind of dig. I didn't know if I really would. It kind of looks more gray in pictures. When you get it up close, it is more of it's a greenish gray, I guess is what I would call it. And then you have that pop of color with the anodization inside the divots and the holes and the chamfers and all that. So yeah, I mean, the pocket clip, as far as tip down pocket clips go, it's not that bad. Spoon style pocket clip, it works okay. Definitely sits down in there. You've got quite a, that's a pretty long pocket clip. And then you're going to have, about that much knife sticking out of your pocket. Doesn't bother me. I actually did use that to grab the knife and pull it out. So not a big deal for me. Is going to be for some, and that's fine if you like or need to have deep carry. The hardware, I didn't take this thing apart, nothing like that. Didn't have to tune it, anything, but very small torque screws on the handles. The pivot looks to be at least a T8, which is fine. Plunge grind on this thing. This thing has definitely been sharpened by Christopher's Tanks or somebody else, which puts this thing, it's pretty sharp. It cuts okay, but it's pretty thick behind the edge, and I'm not sure if it's because it's been sharpened, because this is a very old blade, and if it's been used, it's been sharpened quite a bit since then. So it's pretty thick behind the edge, 28 thousandths, 29 thousandths behind the edge, and that very well could be because of the sharpenings that it has. But it is a flat grind, but only goes about 3/4 of the way up. Then you have the flat, this really swoop down area here. So, if you're going to try to choke up on this blade, your thumb kind of lands right there. It's just not very comfortable because you don't really have a good enough or a decent size flat to really put your finger here and get behind the blade. So it's not as comfortable this way. But like I said, in this position, I found it that I was able to get behind the knife enough to cut through cardboard, and it does a pretty decent job. Recurve blades are one of those things where I kind of shy away from just because of the sharpening aspect of it. And this one, I would say, is a little bit too much of a recurve for me to feel comfortable sharpening on my flat stones with the KMB system. It probably could be done. A lot of other people are going to know more than me, but I found myself playing with this and liking it a lot more than I actually thought I was going to when I first unboxed this thing. A lot of guys who had this before me hated it, and I don't hate it. I very much dislike the two things that we've already mentioned, the tip down carry and the detent being so light. But ergonomically, the way that it really feels in the hand, with the amount of handle that you have, the jimping right here. I mean, I was very surprised that this was as comfortable as it was and useful, because I really wanted and always want to choke up, and I don't really feel like you need to on this. You know, over a 4-inch blade, I mean, holy moly, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Feels sturdy enough. Benchmade, you know, great American company. I don't really have any other Benchmades in the collection as of right now. I've had quite a few over time. The last one that I had and got rid of, and actually regret, is the Benchmade Super Freak, which I still really like that knife. Very, very nice knife. M4 blade on that one and whatnot, but I don't have any more Benchmades. I'm not a huge fan of the Axis lock anymore. It's just not my deal. But this one surprised me. That's just all I can say. It absolutely surprised me. And so let's go ahead, flip the camera around, and we'll get some close-ups of this, as well as put it up against some other size comparisons so you can see the massiveness of this knife and how much of a Kyle-sized knife it really, really is. Right. Benchmade Skirmish. Now, keep in mind, this knife is like 15 years old. But you have a stone-washed green anodized titanium handle, like I said. And I think it's coming through on the camera. It looks a little bit more grayish than it does green. But your ano inside your chamfers and this coloration inside the divots kind of give it a pop of color. You know, it's not my aesthetic choice, but I know a lot of people probably like that. There's your pocket clip. Sturdy. Good retention. It's just tipped down. Not my deal. But, you know, really nice access to the lock bar to get out of the way. And then, of course, fall shut just like that. There's those chamfers I was telling you about on the holes. And then this really funky blade shape, drop point blade. Got good amount of billy. Recurve right here. And decently cut. I mean, it's a decent cutter for as thick as it is behind the edge. It's just really, you know, surprisingly how much I like this knife. Let's go ahead and put it in the circle. It's a big one. I mean, look at that. It's a decent sized knife. It's 9.7 inches overall. That's definitely got enough handle. I mean, this regular saber grip right here, you could even come back here and do some chopping tasks if you really wanted to, because you have that much. You know, not that I would suggest that, but yeah, it's a thing. Let's go ahead and put it up against some other knives. Here it is against the Spartan Harsey Folder, also known as a bigger knife. And yes, the Skirmish is bigger than that thing. What about my 4-inch Koof? Yep. Bigger than the 4-inch Koof. I mean, you know, it's just, it's definitely a bruiser as far as the size is concerned. Here it is against the Koenig Arius. Just dwarfs the Koenig Arius. And so, yeah. It's big. I mean, we'll go ahead and put it up against one of the bigger knives I have in my collection just to kind of give you a reference. There it is against the Formax. So, not quite as big as the Formax, but it's damn close. So, yep, definitely good-sized knife for the masses. If you are a Benchmade collector, this is probably one that is desirable because they're so hard to find. And, yeah, I don't think this was for sale. You know, Chris you know, he's got a bunch of knives, and he's a hell of a collector, and this is one I'm not sure if he picked up in the recent history or if he picked this up brand new. I'm really not sure. But if you're a Benchmade collector, I haven't seen these very much at all. It's probably pretty desirable to actually have in a Benchmade collection. And if you're looking for one, good luck, because I couldn't find one for sale. So, anyways, guys, I really appreciate you stopping by and checking it out with me. This is a very interesting knife. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I ended up liking it just a little bit more than I thought I would during the review process. Christopher Stanks, you are the man. I really appreciate it. My resident Bama boy, Roll Tide. I really appreciate him always participating in commenting on videos, sending knives, commenting and participating in On the Edge and all the lives that we do. He's just a really cool guy, and I really can't thank him enough for his participation in making us as the YouTubers feel really good, and also trusting us with knives like this. So guys, as always, fuck YouTube and Google, and stay safe in this absolutely crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.